What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wildcats live here for Gameweek 38. Yes, we are nearly at the end of this season, and it has felt a long one. I don't know if you guys agree with me. But before I pass over to Nim, unfortunately, we don't have Kurt here with us today. He hasn't been able to make it. But we are here, the four of us, to talk all things Gameweek 38. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for FPL, and then take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. Welcome everyone to the stream. This is it. We've made it to the last stream of the season, lads. We've made it. We're missing one Wildcat. We're one Wildcat down, but we've made it to the end. The running order is still the same as usual, though. So let's take a look. Do we have to? At how we got on in Game Week 37. And Jay, go on. You can go first, buddy.
Okay.
Oh,
cool.
Sorry.
I don't usually go first, but so I had an okay game week. It did see a little green arrow, but nothing too major. We actually saw Bamford come good for me finally. I've had him for about a game week or two, and I've been a bit disappointed with what I've seen. He's been taken off early, and then of course he's come through in this game with 12 points, and it's probably thanks to him that the game week was pretty decent. We did have points from Lingard, Fernandez with that phantom assist, and then Alexander-Arnold and Alioski both getting clean sheets. Alioski has been a hero for me. I brought him in just as I can't get Dallas, so I have someone from Leeds, and he's done really well in these last few game weeks, so I'm happy to have brought him in. Unfortunately, I benched Rudiger, and then of course Ray says to me, "Don't worry, Holgate won't play," and he comes on in the 90th minute. I was just like. It got to about 80 and I was like, okay, he might not come on. And then
I hate that side right at the end. He always comes on.
90th minute though, there was no need. There was just no need.
I know.
So 51 points, there was a -4 because I was too scared of Greenwood. I couldn't go from Jota to Greenwood, so it had to be 2 transfers to bring him in. Harrison came in, Greenwood came in. They replaced Sigurdsson and Jota, and pretty much no benefit from that because of course Sigurdsson got an assist. So I wish, like I'd said in my video, I had gone with Willet, which would of course save me some money. I'll have some money in the bank for this game week. And of course he scored again. So bit disappointed that I'm playing with a bit of fear of assets instead of just trying to pick the ones I think that are best for my side. But the team looks decent for the next game week. Most of my players have something still to play for, so we're hopeful.
Cool. And Ray, how did you get on, buddy?
Evening, guys. It was a travesty. Start of the game week, what change? I did make a change somewhere. I bought in Rafinha rather than Willock because I thought, I think Rafinha will be a bit more explosive. And I decided not to bring in any Man U assets because in 38, I think there'll be mass rotation. And I dared not to watch that game. I watched the Leeds one instead and equally got frustrated as well. So after that game went, I was like, okay, I'm delighted. Oh, Mahrez is starting. I'm delighted. This is going to go well. And it was just my language shit show. I was watching it just thinking, oh my God, am I going to make points anywhere? So I got 3 returns, Mahrez, Lingard, and Alexander-Arnold. Finished on 38 points, 13K drop. So I'm about 40 odd now, which is of course still very good. I'm very happy about that. But it was pretty brutal. It was pretty brutal. I think I got the lowest out of the 4 of us. So guys, you got to check out the video we did where we did it with loads of content creators. It's fantastic, thanks to all of them. But I said Pickford that we should go for. I didn't go for Pickford. I stayed with Mendy, and I said you should go for Bamford. I went for Calvert-Lewin because I was so fearful of that Sheffield United game last week. Even though I've always said DCL and Zaha are the biggest trolls, I don't trust them. I can't help. But it's because they're handsome. I think because they're handsome. So I'm like, you know what? I'll give you a chance. But they keep burning me. So come the last game, I'm 15 points behind a mini league rival. I really, really, really want to chase him down. So I'm going to make some heavy moves. I'm going to take out Mahrez, even though I think he's going to start. But I think I could just see City being quite casual. I don't really think they're going to go for it. They don't really have anything to go for. I'm going to take out DCL. Can't wait to. And I will bring in Mane and either Antonio or Bamford for hit. I actually want to bring in Antonio, but my rival has Antonio. So I think I'm going to go for Bamford. So, Nice. Onwards and upwards, maybe.
How did you get on, Kurt?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Brett, you said Kurt.
Oh, sorry, Brett.
We were trying to let you realise your mistake there. We were just like, cool.
Oh, lads, it's the last one of the season. Come on, bear with me. Sorry, Brett.
No, we are.
Sorry, we are miss. I do miss. I'm so used to having.
We should have just left it at that and no one else.
And I would have been like, nobody's saying anything. Sorry, Brett.
No, it'd be better if Kurt was talking about his team problem.
It would have been funny if he just popped up and none of us were expecting him.
My team, just no good again, really. For the last couple of weeks, it's just been so underwhelming and frustrating because I was so happy with how my team was set up. Look, using these apps where you can see your team in future game weeks, and I was liking the look of my team for the final few game weeks. And even this week, I went Jota to Greenwood. Just seemed like a no-brainer that transfer for me. I get what Ray's saying that obviously in the final game week there could be mass rotation. So Greenwood, I might bench him this week. I don't know. But at home to Fulham, I knew he was going to start that one, and it just seemed like an easy move. Did I trust Willock despite his form? Maybe that's where I faltered this season because I look at players like Iheanacho, Willock, Lingard, and I never trust them to keep delivering, so I avoid them, and they keep doing well, and then I end up caving and getting them in too late. So I just didn't think Willock would continue to do the business. My team was so set up this week. Really nice fixtures all round, really, and the entire team flopped pretty much. I had the goal from Rudiger. And obviously the latest is from Lingard plus bonus. That was like one of the first returns I've got from Lingard. I bought him after all those holes. I didn't have him. And he's done hardly anything since, It's kind of summed up the second half of this season for me. Every player that I buy, if I avoid them, they continue doing well. Once I cave and buy them, they stop doing well. I just cannot time a transfer correctly. Calvert-Lewin looked to be picking up form. scored in back-to-back games when I didn't have him, just like he was at the start of the season when I didn't have him. And then brought him in for 2 game weeks now against Sheffield United and Wolves at home. 2 home games against Sheffield United and Wolves. And Wolves at the moment are not a good side. So those 2 fixtures for Calvert-Lewin to blank in both are just, it's painful and yet so inevitable that he would blank in those games for me. As soon as I bring Calvert-Lewin in, he just never does anything. Kane and Son, both blanking as well. Captain Salah in a 3-0 win against Burnley, he blanked. So, and Iheanacho I benched and he came off the bench and scored, So that was frustrating. I brought Maguire in the other week as well for the triple game week. He got injured in the first game. Every transfer I make lately, it just hasn't gone well. 42, a big red arrow, I think 260k now. So getting into the 100k is gone. I'm just kind of glad that it's 1 game week left because just looking forward to another fresh start, I suppose, next season.
Yeah, no, I feel your pain there.
Do you know what changes you're going to make, Brett? Do you have an idea?
I'm probably going to go Calvert-Lewin to Bamford. Obviously, Antonio's an option as well, but I should have gone Bamford instead of Calvert-Lewin in the first place because Bamford's been my best asset this season. He's been arguably the best asset in the game for his price, like Dallas, this season. And for me personally, because he's one player that I bought early and I kept him all the season, really. I only sold him a game week or 2 ago, or maybe 3 game weeks ago. So I should have gone for him because I trust him and I trust Leeds to carry on playing the way they play every game. They're not a team that'll be on the beach, if you know what I mean. So, I'll probably move Calvert-Lewin on to Bamford. And then I think I might bench Greenwood and play Iheanacho because Spurs look off the pace. And Iheanacho's form is just ridiculous. He got benched in the last game, so he'll start the last game, the final game.
Unless they're going to go for it, aren't they? They need the goals.
Exactly. So I think I might bench Greenwood and play Iheanacho, to be honest.
But I think Greenwood's going to play a bit like the game against Leicester, because I don't think he'll start the final.
Right, interesting. A lot of people seem to think, though, that Ollie was playing his strongest team there in that last
but Rashford was benched because he had a niggle.
Yeah, good point as well.
I don't know. I have considered, if I sell Calvert-Lewin for Bamford, I can afford Son up to Mane for a hit as a differential to end the season because I'm not going to gain rank unless I take a bit of a gamble on Mane and maybe captain him. Just because
it'd be typical of Son to just hit a brace, isn't it? On the counter.
Tell me about it. Like literally, every time I sell him, he does something.
Yeah, I know, and that's probably why I won't end up doing it. And Spurs' record against Leicester, Kane and Son score a lot of goals against Leicester in the past, and Leicester, look a bit nervy as well. So maybe I'll keep those 2 and just do the Calvert-Lewin, the simple move to Bamford. Or Antonio, of course. But, that's me.
Cool. Well, for me, can we just go back to game week 35 where we didn't do a stream and I got 150 points, please? Literally, why did we not stream that week? Or even last game week where I got
guys, this is a game week 36 review.
Yes, because this game has been absolutely woefully unkind to me. I got 44 points, so 40 with the -4, big red arrow. So all of the ground that I made up with that 150 pointer, pretty much lost a good chunk of that. I think it's quicker to point out who did well, just because there's not many of them, rather than all the failures in my team. Pickford's Cleany was a shock given Everton's home form before game week 37, but it was like him or Martinez in that situation, so I went for a bit of a punt. Thankfully it paid off. Dallas was my newcomer in the -4 and got a clean sheet, so thankfully that bit paid off, as did Trent getting the clean sheet. Other than that, only Ollie Watkins returned for me. He could have had loads more, to be honest, than the 9 points he did get, because as Brett pointed out, Spurs were absolutely woeful, really, and he did miss quite a few chances to put that game to bed several times. Other than that, I benched Yes Ndidi, but never really considered playing him, to be honest. He couldn't have done that on my wildcard, could he? My bench boost, that's the one. all a bit of a mess, and not a confidence booster. I wanted heading into the final game week. No idea what I'm going to do, lads. Did a video today with some ideas. Haven't settled on anything. So if Buffy is watching from Elite FPL and the head-to-head final, because somehow I managed to make the final in that, to have a sneaky look at what I'm going to do with my team, they're out of luck. I don't even know what I'm going to do with my team yet. But I would put my money on them winning anyway, because they're already 15 points ahead from this game week gone. But I think, like you guys, considering DCL out for one of the forwards.
DCL will score against Man City now, won't he? It's inevitable.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah,
Man City haven't looked, they haven't looked like, well, they didn't look great defensively in the last game. So, and DCL did have a chance. That was a good save.
That sitter. Oh,
yeah. So, yeah. It's just that Ollie, really, I mean, on form, even though he's against a much better defensive side, I feel like Chelsea are going to go for it.
Absolutely.
So that could leave the door open a little bit for Ollie to, to squeeze a little something out of that match.
Look how different he looks with Grealish in the team.
Yeah.
Watkins just looks phenomenal. I mean, he's been brilliant anyway, but with Grealish in the team.
Absolutely.
I don't want to talk about Watkins.
I don't want to talk about FPL.
As soon as I saw him, he's returned every week.
Every single week.
Just about 10 game weeks.
I've ignored Watkins all season, thinking it won't continue.
Guys, I'm sorry,
He's
but
so inevitable, Watkins. He gets points every game week. It's so frustrating.
He's just tapping away, isn't he? Every goddamn week. And the thing is, I know I bitched about this, but this should have been Mitrovic. Mitrovic should have been doing this. He was the template mid-price striker. He was the template mid-price striker. But Bamford and Watkins have just done bits. I mean, they're going to be priced at like 8 million next year.
And not only that, like I see that Jay has Wood in his team, and I'm not even kidding you. Don't be dodgy. Don't be dodgy.
Oh, I can't.
I didn't say nothing.
I'm childish.
He looked great against Liverpool. Like, he was unlucky not to score several times.
I benched him.
Like, honestly, Nat Phillips, like, he was like keeping Wood out, basically. He was just like stern defence. And so I've been like quite interested in considering him. You two terrible.
Whoa,
considering
him
for
my
the
team
last
forever
game.
now. I can never get rid of Wood.
But I do have a defensive problem. Obviously having Shaw there, and everyone just thinks he isn't going to start. So that leaves me with taking a punt on Holgate, who, as Jay knows, is a rotation risk, or Konza, and Aston Villa defensively have fallen off of a cliff. So I'm not really sure what to do, because there's a lot of issues, and to be honest, my team is not set up well for Game Week 38. I was so focused on getting through the blanks and doubles, I didn't really even look that far ahead, to be honest.
Don't worry, me and Brett used apps that showed us what our team would look like in the future, and we're still getting bad scores.
Well, I know, but your guys' teams look great this week. Like, you have Lingard. I don't have him. I don't have any West Ham, and they're fighting. Don't
worry, you don't need Lingard at the moment. It's Antonio you need. One of their defenders, maybe Chris or Buffon.
Why was Declan Rice taking that penalty? Like,
it wasn't a bad attempt.
I know, but why is he randomly on penalties all of a sudden? Lingard scored the last one, didn't he?
Yeah.
So strange.
Weird. But yeah, I'd like to sell Son for Mane. It seems to be the kind of like going thing, but I don't know. Every time I sold Son, he'll punish me. So I think in a weird way, I'd rather sit and have a blank from him than sell him and watch him all. Selling him in the last game week. Kane, man, he was painful, wasn't he? Like, seriously, just captained him, and it was just, as soon as that blank came in, I was like, well, that's my game week. That's the red arrow, because I was so sure Salah was going to haul. So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the questions. Enough about my woefulness, and let's move on to the questions. Helen would like to know, well, here we go. Are we expecting Shaw, Fernandes, Greenwood and Bale to be benched this week? So, Brett, any thoughts on those four?
I think Bale was benched in the previous game, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
And
He came on.
they couldn't have played much worse, so I'd be confident of Bale starting the next game.
They looked a lot better when he came on. In fact, that was the only time when Harry actually looked like he might get a return, was when Bale came on that last kind of 10 minutes. So
and surely it's the respectful thing to do for what he did for Spurs before, to play him in, because he's probably going back to Madrid. We don't know what's going to happen, but if this is the last time he plays in a Spurs shirt, surely you give him this game.
Yeah,
I would have thought so anyway.
Yeah, I think Bale starts last game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be confident Bale starting. With United. It's a lot harder to predict because obviously it's Sunday to Wednesday. You know, their final game on Sunday, and then a Europa League final on Wednesday. You know, it's a huge game. So, well, what players did she say? Shaw,
Fernandes, and Greenwood. Well, Ray has said that he thinks Greenwood might start. So,
I think he's the most likely to start.
Me too. I mean,
because he was the one that started in that weakened team, wasn't he? Against Leicester, he was the one that still played in that weakened team.
And he scored, yeah.
I'm just nervous Ollie might see him as a good asset to have for that final. And then...
I think he definitely sees him as a good asset, but I think he starts with Pogba.
Well, he starts with Pogba on the left, I think, and he'll put Rashford on the right stupidly. That's what I think he'll do.
What do we think about Bruno and Shaw then?
I'm very sure they won't start. I think it'll be Telles and probably Van der Beek or someone else. And, you know, Dan James is back now, so I expect him to start. And they're pushing for Martial to start as well for the final game. So I just couldn't see Bruno starting. It would be madness to start him, actually.
I know it would be, but how many times have we said that this season? And how many times has Ollie actually played him? Like, I don't know if he has the cojones to turn around and say...
But there's nothing to play for, though. I mean, because they've guaranteed second.
I know,
there was always something to play for before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I guess it depends on Bruno and how much he has an influence over whether he plays the game or not. And for me, the player wants to play ball, and regardless of the situations, last game week of the season, the Premier League, every potential that he might put pressure on. But I still think he gets minutes regardless. Like, I don't think he'll rest in the whole game. Like,
if I was the star of the team, I'd want to make sure I'm in that final. So if there was nothing to play for, I wouldn't have a problem with being dropped for the last game of the season. Because it makes no difference, really, if they win or lose. But I guess I'm not Bruno Fernandes, so I don't know how he feels about that. But that would be my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you guys said about the Man U assets. About Bale, if I could take that step. So I can only see Bale starting if Tottenham put a proper central midfield out, not like Lo Celso, Højbjerg and Ali in the centre, because it's just so offensive. I think if they play like Ndombele, Sissoko and Højbjerg, you know, a lot more solid in the midfield to counter the two pivots and probably the third central defender of Leicester, then I can see Bale starting. But away to Leicester to play Kane, Son, Dele Alli, Bale and like Lo Celso, I think it's a recipe for disaster for Spurs. So do I believe Bale will actually start? Yes, because I do think that Spurs will be a bit more industrial in the middle of the park, not have so many charismatic players, because you don't want Bale running back, do you? You want him there, to stay up because he's incredibly explosive. But if I had him in my team and I wasn't nervous to take a hit, I would take out Bale, personally.
Interesting. That's
and not only that, Bergwijn was fantastic. against
he
Aston
was really
Villa.
good. In fact, he was annoying me slightly because, like, he was taking a lot of the chances and stuff. I was
All
like,
of them,
just pass it
wasn't he?
again! Just pass it again! Like, just please!
And also, you can't ignore Lucas Moura as well, who is a fantastic player to have in a squad.
My love-hate relationship with Lucas Moura. The lads know it well. Okay, cool. All right. Well, Helen, I think we think Bale starts, but as for the United lot, we're really not sure. I think is probably the safe bet. Marcus Chia asks, he says this is his bus team without any transfers for game week 38. I do have a picture of the team here, but he's saying planning to take out either Zaha or DCL. Any suggestions for midfielders under 8.6 million or forwards under 8.9 million? And he has Calvert-Lewin, Bamford and Antonio already. And he has Rafinha in midfield.
Greenwood, Salah and Son.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much is Firmino at the moment?
9.
Funny that, 9.6, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
he's
got like the main three, hasn't he? I mean, you could go Nacho because he's been brilliant this season.
Benteke
up front, Benteke.
Might be an injury issue.
Yeah, a bit of a niggle there.
Bit
of a niggle. Okay. Yeah, he kind of went off holding his knee, so they're not sure whether he's going to start or not. Yeah, Martinelli, if you want a real punt.
I don't mind that name yet.
Just chucking it out there.
There's loads of punts out there, to be fair.
Yeah. And like I said, I thought Wood was quite good against Liverpool, so he's a potential option as well. As for the midfielders, he doesn't have Lingard, Ben Rama, maybe. He's got Rafinha, could do Harrison. Oh no, he can't because he's got Bamford and Dallas already.
Willock, inevitable.
Yeah,
Willock. Inevitable.
Yeah.
Fulham on the final day for Willock as well. So.
It's a good shout. Good shout. So yeah, hopefully there's some suggestions there for you, Marcus. Richie has a few questions for us. So hey Richie, he says, great content as always, guys. Number 1, I have Salah and Trent. He's thinking Fernandes out for Mane or Digne out for Robertson. So which out of those two options would you do, Jay?
I mean, there's always the problem with Liverpool's defence is there's always a possibility that they will go big. Whereas with every other side, you can probably look at the forwards and go, okay, there's a bigger upside. But Robertson and Trent kind of don't play the same way as most defenders in the league. I'm still not convinced by Mane, to be fair. So I kind of would lean towards Robertson, because Robertson has consistently been good, even if Liverpool themselves haven't been. So I kind of prefer Robertson, and that's where my gut would go. But to be honest, in that game, I think Liverpool are going to go all out to win. Salah's going to want the golden boot, and it could go like we saw with the game just gone. 3 goals, Salah wasn't involved in any. Trent wasn't involved in any. So you always take that risk with Liverpool that you're just going to be on the wrong side of the toss of the coin.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, any thoughts on
I think
Mane?
In his current team, if he's currently playing both Digne and Fernandes, then I'd probably go Digne to Robertson because Digne is away to City, right? However, maybe, if he's not being forced to play Digne, if he's already got a good backup already in the starting 11, then I'd probably go Fernandes to Mane just for the attacking potential. Just for that chance to, obviously Robertson can score big too, like he did in the previous game, But yeah, I would probably favour the attacking move, just for the hopefully high reward. Mane's record against Palace is exceptionally good. I know some people don't like to look at histories against clubs because every game is different. But Mane has scored in like every time he's played Palace, or almost every time he's played them. And yeah, I mean, Palace are probably without Benteke, who's been playing well. And obviously Eze is out for the season now. The end of the season anyway, but he's out too injured. So Palace had nothing to play for. So they're for the taking, really, I think. And Liverpool put 7 goals past them earlier this season. It was a 7-0. So yeah, I'd probably go Mane for that reason. But both are good options. I like Robertson as well.
He does say, reluctantly, I need to start Target versus Chelsea or Cody versus Man United. Who would you go for? So,
Which two?
So he says he would need to start Target versus Chelsea or Cody versus Man United. So it does sound like Digne would have to start as well, unless he played those two. So
okay,
possibly more like laying back on what Jay was saying there in terms of, what could be quite good for his defence, because I'm kind of in a similar situation. I'd like to go attacking, but I have the problem with Shaw, so he says he also has Forster and Fabianski. Risk 1 plays or bring in a keeper for a hit. What do you think on that one, Ray?
Yeah, they're all kind of linked together almost, aren't they? I know they're all questions from him, but first of all, I'd go for the Mane pick, and therefore I'd look to take out Digne for a hit, so rather than a goalkeeper. Take out Digne and maybe bring in one of the explosive assets like Dallas. If you don't have Dallas, maybe Alioski or someone like that, or maybe Soufal. So just answering the question, sorry, number 3 is I'd just risk 1 and not take a hit at this point, I mean, because you're taking a -4 and you have to get a clean sheet pretty much to come back. And for a final day, it's not really very...
you need your keeper to do spectacular things, really, don't you, to take a hit.
So I'd use that hit. I'd use that hit to take out Digne. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
So do the Mane change, take out Digne, and look at one of the potential explosive defenders that he doesn't have.
Strictly speaking, David De Gea can get assists if FPL did their job properly.
Yeah.
Tell me about
it.
Although it would have been
exactly that. Yeah, it shouldn't have been a goal. It just shouldn't have been a goal. Like,
I mean, I'll take the points because it was a bad week, but
nah, man, nah. Just nah.
I hate to say it, but I agree with Jay. I'd take those points as well.
I'm sorry. In a week like this week,
you would.
I took those points.
Like,
I was like, yes, what a phantom touch by Bruno.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I had him in my team, I'd take it as well. I mean, who wouldn't? Like, you're not going to say no to the points, but I would, still stay there and say it wasn't a goal because it wasn't. Anyway. Rishi also asked us a question on behalf of his friend, saying, I have a friend from Uganda, Colin, who watches your content, who can't get football over there. Oh, that's a shame. His first year, he's got 6 points off his target and would like to thank you for the content. Oh, bless. No, thank you for watching, Colin. He says he plans to move Fernandes to Torres or Mane. And also, would we start Son, Watkins or Rudiger? So I can see Colin's team in front of me, so if you need to ask anything, I can let you guys know. But are we sure that Torres starts? Because he's done so well, hasn't he, recently for City? I'm thinking, would he maybe
get pulled off
be
early the last game?
Yeah, but
yeah, because he got a man sent off.
Yeah, but I'm thinking he might be kept for the final.
I think he starts.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think he's done enough to play his way into that first 11 for the Champions League.
Because the system still changes, isn't it? Because he plays as a striker.
Because Gundogan's injured, isn't he, now? And we don't know
where. Is it confirmed?
I don't know. I mean, he went off with an injury, so I just unless he's okay, he's made it back. So how do we envision that front three then? Front three, front five.
A lot of it depends if De Bruyne is fit. I imagine.
But I don't think
Aguero too.
We have a question on that. Hold that.
Yeah, hold that.
Okay, so Ilkay's knee injury. Tomorrow we're going to check it. The doctor is quite optimistic. Problem is he had a kick and he was running with disturbance. Didn't want to take the risk. And he's been put down as 50%.
So there's no way he'll start De Bruyne then as well. No way.
Yeah. Which one do we like then? Let's just do a quick kind of Torres or Mane. So Brett, Torres or Mane if you had to pick?
Mane, no question.
Okay, Jay?
See, any other game week, I would be saying Mane. But the upside of Torres doing well just is very appealing in the final game week of the season to me. Because I feel like more people will lean towards Mane.
Okay, Ray?
I'm really unsure.
I love the honesty.
Because I had Mahrez and I'm taking him out for Mane, but I think Mahrez might start. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But gun to the head, I'll say Mane. Simply because Liverpool have to go for it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I would probably just say Mane just for the safety of the start, but it's not because I don't like the idea of Torres. It's just that I'm scared of Pep Roulette, pretty much. But if you can hold your nerve, Colin, you get any team news before that Torres starts, then yeah, I don't hate that at all. Would we start Son, Watkins, or Rudiger? Sonny for me. Brett?
Gotta be, yeah. I'm not even sure Rudiger, he would be at the bottom of the list from the three. I don't even know if he will start. It's a bit different with Chelsea and City because they do have 6 days before the Champions League, whereas United play at 3 days later for the Europa League final.
Yeah.
But Rudiger is so important to Chelsea since Tuchel took charge that he'll want him for that Champions League final. So I'm not even sure Rudiger will start, to be honest. But yeah, Son for me. Just for the explosive potential. But Watkins has been so consistent, I can understand it.
Yeah. Jay?
Sorry, I was checking the stream, so I've forgotten what the question is.
It's okay. Would you start Son, Watkins, or Rudiger?
The way he's been so consistent, probably Watkins. Son would be my normal go-to there, but just Son this season for me has either been absolute gold for short periods or a bit disappointing, whereas Watkins just ticks away, getting an assist, getting a goal, which when I watch Watkins, I'm like, I don't need him on my side. Look at his finishing. Who doesn't finish enough? But he just continuously gets points. And who knows, that 7 points he might get, 8 points he might get could be the big difference. Or a particular rank that you're aiming for. Say you're aiming for 30k, so you're aiming for 100k. I think Watkins has just been more consistent.
Okay. Ray?
Hate to be a disruptor, but with the options that he's given, he'll be playing triple West Ham in Cresswell, Lingard, and Antonio.
And he's starting all three of those at the moment.
I know it's not the question. I'm sorry, but I'm thinking take out Lingard so that you can start Watkins and Son, because I do feel with Grealish back, Watkins really looks like a different animal. And again, Chelsea have to go for the win. It's different this game, isn't it? They can't kind of, pick their points and then, pick their moments and stuff. They need to make sure they get that victory. So I'd actually bench Lingard, man. I know it's not popular, especially if he's going to get Mane for Fernandes. But if he's already set in his ways,
I mean, if he's choosing between those players already, there is a kind of, I guess, because I'm looking at his team, and you could really say don't sell Fernandes at all and just play one of those options that you're deciding.
That's also
between.
A great point. Yeah.
It just depends on how much you want to go for it, I guess, in the last game week of the season. But yeah, you could just drop Fernandes if you feel he won't start, and play Watkins. And or Rudiger, But yes, enough negativity on Son. He's going to do something this week. He's going to do it. Sunday. This is his day. This is a sunny day, damn it. It's a sunny day. Let's have it. Come on, Son, you beautiful man. Finish the season strongly for me. Please, I need it. Okay. Our regular Nuclear Atoms says, I'm chasing points, so should I take a punt on someone who has big reward with big risk, or go for a player who is a little less reward but almost guaranteed return with less risk?
Who is he referring to?
Who's this guaranteed person? I want to know.
Who are you chatting about?
Who's this guaranteed points?
Can we fit that person in 11 times? Because that's what I need this week. So if you're chasing points, do you take a punt? I think is pretty much the crux of the question. What do you think, Jay?
I mean, it depends what he's chasing. If he's chasing someone in a mini league, that person's like 4 points ahead, I'd say the risk you're going to be taking is a lot less than if that person's, say, 20 points ahead. So I'd like to know exactly what he is chasing. But
hopefully you'll tell us in the chat.
I'm always of the opinion that...
Oh, he's talking about Iheanacho.
Well, I don't think he's that much of a risk, Iheanacho, personally. Every time he's played, he's managed to return something.
And he still has high ownership as well.
Yeah. The problem is, if you're chasing points, his ownership would be a bit like... If it's rank-wise you're going for. But if it's a mini-league and your opponent doesn't have Iheanacho, then he's a great pick. But I'd always say Gameweek 38 is the one where you can take a bigger risk than usual.
Yeah. What do you think, Brett?
If he's very confident of a player banking points, obviously he's very confident that Iheanacho will return, so I'd say bank the points and go for him. If you're that confident.
He's chasing top 100k, by the way. I don't know how far behind top 100k he is, but that's what he's chasing.
Okay, so it's not like an individual in a mini league.
No.
I guess that changes a bit because if you're chasing 100, like a lot of top 100k will have Iheanacho. So I'm not sure if his points will really do much for you if you're trying to bridge that gap, So maybe in that case, if you're a few points off 100k, maybe you need a differential, because I'd say Iheanacho in top 100k is very highly owned.
What I have done before for Gameweek 38, and do go check them out. They are the sponsors of these streams. Fantasy Football Scout, you can go over previous seasons' data, and you can check who scored in Gameweek 38. And I found a couple of players previously that often return in Gameweek 38, and you can maybe look at some of them. I haven't done it myself this year, but I have done it previously with the likes of Arnautovic, and there was a bunch of other players. I think Zaha was one year.
Hazard
was always one year. So there are some players that have a tendency to do well in the last game week. I don't know if that's because the teams they're facing maybe switch off a bit, so they're giving more space. You could maybe
I won my mini league once by going Martial in the last game week of the season, and he hadn't played for about 3 games beforehand, and I just got wind that he was starting, and I just, on a notion, just because I was second, took a weird punt, brought him in and captained him. He got that was the year he got a brace and 2 assists or something stupid like that in one game, and I was like, it was one of those aha moments. But
if you had the notion that Aguero was starting this last game, would you bring him in?
Well, that's our next question, funny enough.
Okay,
Brett.
just quickly, Nim, just before then, before we move on to that. Nuclear does make a good point that obviously because of the blank week, lots sold Iheanacho. So he is less owned now than he was before.
19%.
Yeah, so obviously it'd be a lot higher in the top 100k, but a lot of those might have sold during the blank. There is some tools online where you can choose a player and you tell it how many points that person scores, that player, and then it will tell you what your rank would be if just that player returns 6 points, for example. So maybe research one of those tools and see how effective Iheanacho's points will be for you at this point. And if 6 points from him takes you into the top 100k, providing the rest of your team scores the average of the top 100k, and that's the extra 6 points you need. Maybe that'll help make your decision. And if it turns out his points aren't really that effective, if a 10-pointer from Iheanacho doesn't really affect your rank that much, then maybe then you can go for the differential.
Yeah, so top 10k is still 37% owned.
Okay.
So I'm guessing a lot of people just benched him rather than.
Yeah, I did the same.
Mm.
And again, I'm not nowhere near that rank, but I'm not one of those people.
I'm top 100k.
Kept that one quiet. Yeah. So.
I'd say someone like Ferran Torres. I didn't answer the question, but we spoke about him, and why not someone like Ferran Torres? He's on form.
I'm tempted.
Away to Brighton, aren't they away to Brighton though? Or no, they're home to Everton, aren't they?
Yeah. So game before last, he obviously got that phenomenal hat trick. Looked phenomenal, obviously, and then against Brighton, he was hauled off after they got a man sent off. So I'm pretty certain he's going to start the final game. I'm like very confident he's going to start the final game. So I think if you're chasing Nuclear and you're around,
is he a forward or a midfielder?
He's classified as a midfielder.
So maybe that might, because if Nuclear is looking at Iheanacho, might be looking for a forward rather than a midfielder.
Well, is Chris Wood highly owned?
No, I think Wood could be a great shout, to be honest. I really like the look of him against Liverpool.
Oh my God, he's 4.5% owned.
I know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know.
Wood.
No.
Get Wood.
The issue is, I'm thinking of benching him. I just don't know where to.
Just pass him to me, brother. Just pass him to me for free. It's fine. If you're going to bench him anyway, you don't need him.
I think Wood is the one to go for, definitely.
Cool. Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Well, there's that option as well. No. Okay, so let's get on to Aguero then. Fib would like to know, is Aguero, if fit, too nostalgic a pick? So, what do we think? Brett?
I suppose it depends where you're ranked, really. I don't think it's too nostalgic. If he's fit and we know he's starting, it's not too nostalgic. I know.
There's Kurt to go. Give us the shake of the head.
Been in years.
Yeah, yes, yes. That's why he's nostalgic.
Yeah. And he's right. I mean, I know Aguero hasn't been himself for the last year or 18 months or however long it's been. Obviously, unlucky with injuries and getting on a little bit now. If he's fit and we know he's starting, I don't think it's too nostalgic, because on his day, Man City can create lots of chances, and on Aguero's day, he can put those chances away. Obviously, the penalty miss won't do his confidence any good, or if he'll even be on penalties now. But you'd think in the last game, if they win a penalty and he's playing, he would still take it. I think, but he definitely won't. He won't do a Panenka. He won't do a Panenka for sure. He'll smash it down the middle probably. So no, I think if you've got nothing to lose and you want to take, I would love to own Aguero for his last game, just because playing FPL over the years, like Aguero's been like one of my favorite assets, like such a legend of the Premier League, a legend of fantasy Premier League. So no, maybe
I'll start crying.
Maybe it will go really badly, But if you're chasing rank and you've got nothing to lose and he's going to start, I don't think it's too nostalgic. Could pay off.
Okay, so this is my take on it, is that I'm incredibly worried that we haven't even seen him in the team for the last 2 matches. That concerns me about Pep allowing him to start. I would like to think that he gets some game time. I really, really hope we haven't just seen that, we basically that last game that he was in where he missed the penalty is the last time he ever plays for City. That would just be horrible. Like, it would be awful. But it would be just like Pep. But I'm where before I was more leaning towards Pep will start him and have him come off to a round of applause. I'm a little bit concerned more so now that it might be a case of start some of the youngsters, win the game, and bring Aguero on for the last 10, 15 minutes of the of the match. And then I could see him getting a goal, but it's a lot for myself. Obviously, other people, different situation, but for myself, I'd have to move a couple of players around in order to get him in, and probably take a hit in order to get him in. It's a lot for the potential of maybe a goal, out of that 10, 15 minutes of him coming on, as much as I really want to own him. We will know whether he's in the squad the night before. Aguero always posts on his Instagram, always. Like, this has become a thing on Twitter, and I have been saying this for about 3 seasons straight now. He always posts, or his team, I should say, social media team, always posts on Instagram a cool little graphic saying match day, and they have loads of Aguero pictures of them against that particular team. And, and then it's, Manchester versus, whoever that is. And they posted the night before. You can always then guarantee that Aguero will be in the squad. But even though they post that and he's in the squad, it doesn't guarantee that Aguero is coming off the bench. There's been many times over those 2 seasons where I've said this to people and they've gone, right, get him in because he's in the squad. And then he sits on the bench the whole game. So we will know that whether he's in the squad the night before, like past 12 o'clock. It's like automatic post. It gets posted. We will know that. But what I can't guarantee you from that Instagram post is how, like, if that goes out and he's starting, I can't guarantee you the minutes, and that's the problem with it. Jay, anything to add?
Where's my Kurt hat? Don't get me wrong, he's done amazing over his career. He has been an amazing FPL asset, but there is no chance I will be going anywhere near Aguero for this final game of the season, because I want the best rank I can possibly get.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely possible he plays 10 minutes and still somehow gets 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah,
it's well within his wheelhouse to do that, but there's too much risk of him not starting.
Yeah.
And we
I
haven't
can't
seen
believe
him
I'm
recently.
even saying it. Like, I am the person that just would honestly, like, love more than anybody to have him start and have him in my team.
If he played like 60
I'm so
minutes
with Jay
recently,
on this one. So with Jay on this
if
one.
he played 60 minutes in the last game, or there was some sort of
yeah.
signal that he is playing.
We'd seen him. Do you know what I mean? Even just seen him.
But with like Torres doing what he's doing at the moment, like, you want some momentum surely going into the Champions League final.
Fair point. Yeah.
I can't take the risk. I would love to, but there's a possibility I'll drop out.
I think if I was sat like 800k now, I'd just do it.
The question was though, if we know he starts. So
I still wouldn't.
Fair enough.
I just don't think. I think there's players with more form currently who have been playing, and he's coming off another injury. Who's to say he does get injured in 20 minutes and then gets subbed off?
I'd be so surprised if he started. Like, unless he's doing rehab by himself. Like, honestly, if he's doing rehab by himself and he's, and Pep's willing to risk him, then fair play. But we'd need some solid leaks for that, wouldn't we? Do you think, Ray?
Firstly, just about Sergio Aguero, he's, for me, one of the top 3 strikers ever in the Premier League, with Shearer and Thierry Henry.
Hasn't had the acknowledgement he deserves.
As proper strikers, yeah, I agree. I just can't believe he's never got like a PFA or even been in the shortlist. He's incredible. Followed him when he was at Atletico Madrid, so he's just and a fantastic guy. And you don't see any, news stuff about him. He's just a really, really top professional in person, it seems.
I keep him straight, Ray. Keep him straight.
But I'm not going to go so heavy like Jay did. I would not consider him at all. But I do feel Aguero will be on the bench, and I think he'll come on for like the last 10 minutes or something like that. And if there's a penalty, he'll definitely get it. Every time he gets the ball, there'll be a cheer. He'll take probably crazy shots here and there to try and get a goal. But he isn't fit. He isn't fit. Yeah. So, for him to play, and remember, like, I think Barcelona are going to sign him. So, he doesn't want to hurt himself proper because, in a couple of months' time, he'll need to be ready for pre-season. So, yeah, I would not go anywhere near him. And you know how I am about have a little fun in the game. I think that's just madness if you bring in a Aguero.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you absolutely 100% know he starts and you have a gut feeling for him, then you got to go for it. But I think even if I know 100% that he starts, just the position I'm in with my team, the effort I would need to get him in, I think I have him in my draft team, and that feels like enough for me. Like, literally, he's been in my draft team since the beginning of the season, and I've played him every week. Every week I've played him. I barely got any returns from him. Of course, if he doesn't play, and somebody comes in off the bench for me, it's fine. But I have him there, and in my head, I'm kind of, you know what? Yeah, so like, if you can stick him in another fantasy game or something like that and still get, your happiness that way, that isn't quite as important as FPL, then then that could be a way to do it.
Can I make one more point? Mig, hey Mig, he makes a great point. He goes, Pep pretends to be a caring, sentimental coach, but he is ruthless when it comes to team selection.
Mm-hmm.
And that reminds me of last season. Liverpool's last game was against Chelsea, I think, when they won the Premier, or when they were presented with the Premier League trophy. He didn't bring on Lallana for his last appearance for Liverpool. He left him on the bench the whole time. Game was won already. I think they were 5-3 up or something. And he didn't bring him on, and that was extremely ruthless. And it was Lallana's last game, and Lallana, I think, won a Champions League medal as well. And he also had injury issues last season as well. It was a bit of a myriad here. It's quite symmetrical between Lallana and Aguero. So he might not even come on.
I know.
Maybe I'm being so harsh, but if he's not fit, why would he be bought on?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah, like, you can't put an injured player on the pitch for the sake of it. I mean, you can have him walk around afterwards and cheer with the fans and stuff, So, yeah. It's horrible. I wish he was fit. I wish he was able to play and that we could just.
I would have
get him
definitely
in.
had him at some point this season if he was fit. Definitely.
If I remember correctly, I don't know if this is correct, but I think maybe 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, Phil Foden was 1 appearance away from getting a Premier League medal.
Okay.
So we thought in the final game that Pep would play Foden just to get him 10 appearances and he didn't play him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was really strange. He didn't even
well.
sub him on. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I'm correct, but I'm pretty sure. I remember being
that
surprised.
rings a bell as well, Brett.
Yeah, because that seemed like a no-brainer. But I guess in that case, he wanted to show Foden, like, your time will come, like, you'll learn it the right way when you're a bit older, rather than just gifting him a Premier League medal that he didn't really play much for. But yeah, that does kind of back up Mig's point. It can be quite ruthless.
Nuclear made the point that Aguero didn't come on in the Carabao Cup either. So, okay, moving on. Brian asks, if money is no object, and it isn't, oh, look at him flashing the cash. Who is the one player you want for the final week, in the knowledge that most teams will be chucking shirts to the tea lady and the groundsman at this stage? What do you think, Ray? Money's no object. Who do you want, brother? You're rich. Go for it. Spend that dough.
Well, I mean, we're mentioning all these players again, but Sadio Mane, I could see him going off on one, honestly.
Fair enough. That's cool. If that's your guy. What about you, Jay?
That's not so template. Sorry about that.
He will be by the weekend. The way things are going, I think he seems to be quite up there in the FPL community.
I'm trying to think of anyone that I'd really
premium wise. It's tough.
For the final game week, if you could have one player, is that the question?
Pretty much, yeah.
Jamie Vardy, maybe he does something out of nowhere. He's been so important to him before. But I'm struggling though, because it's not like Vardy's coming in with the best form compared to, say, Iheanacho.
Exactly.
Chelsea, they need to play, but who do you pick from Chelsea? The points come from everywhere. Liverpool, Mane's already been said. I assume a lot of people have Salah, but if you didn't have Salah, I'd also be looking at him. West Ham don't really have any premium options, so if you thought they were playing for anything,
Leeds. No.
Arsenal are playing, like, I don't know, just the teams that are playing for something, you either have players that are already quite highly owned, or they're not exactly on the best form they've been on in their career. So
and are cheap.
Bale would be a punt, because we think he's going to start. And we know when he does have a good game, it's often 2 goals or goal and assist. But then there's always a chance he does absolutely nothing and doesn't track back and seems like he's not bothered. So I don't know, is my answer. Sorry.
You can't say I don't know.
Answer.
Vardy,
yes, I can say I don't know. Vardy. Have you seen my rank for a lot this season? I clearly
Of course I have, mate. I've been tracking it. You know I have been.
Yeah, a lot of times I don't know.
Brett?
Can you repeat the question just quickly, Nim, just to make sure I didn't...
Yeah, if money is no object, and it isn't, who is the one player you want for the final week in the knowledge that most teams will be chucking shirts to the tea lady and the groundsman at this stage?
Okay, I just wanted to be sure you didn't mention it had to be differential or something. Mo Salah for me, straight away, at home to Palace. Yeah, obviously this chasing the golden boot, and they need top 4 as well, so he'd be the first one. And on paper, looking at the fixtures, I'd say probably Antonio at home to Southampton. Southampton looks so poor. And obviously Bamford at home to West Brom as well. After that, Liverpool probably a defender like Robertson or Trent. Yeah, but Mo Salah would be the first one for me. Obvious, I know, but looking at the fixtures.
I mean, assuming he's probably already got him, but yeah, I mean, it's answering the question. I don't think it's about money this season, is it really? And I think that's probably why he's saying if it was no object and it isn't, probably goes to show that he's got a fair bit in the bank. And I think there really are very few premium options we can look at for the final game week. Just the way the cookie is crumbled effectively, and the way the fixtures have fallen, and the way these players have finals in a couple of days' time, and injuries and stuff like that. I kind of up there with the guys, Mane, Salah, probably premium, even Firmino possibly premium assets. Other than that, just forget about spending it and just go for whoever you think will do best for you that game week. And we've already mentioned quite a few of the budget names, I guess, this evening. So.
I think that's something we really need to think about next season, because I think perhaps all of us had KDB at one point, and when he got injured, a few of us bought in Gundogan.
Yeah.
Nim, I know you and I bought him in straight away. And I had
one of my better ones.
Same,
better transfers of the season.
Yeah. But I had like 3 or 4 million in the bank for like a month, and was climbing the ranks. And I know it's difficult, you feel the money's yours and it's burning a hole in your pocket, but I really, really don't. I can't. Next season, I can't be tempted by just how much money's in the bank. So I need to buy Vardy if Iheanacho is doing better. Does that make sense? Go for the player who's on form, has the streak, has the stats. But I love heat maps and stuff. So analyze the heat maps. Are they being in the right position? That's the key part. Defensively and offensively. So come first draft next season, if these are the right players I want and I have 2 million in the bank, then I'm just going to go for that and not, go for the apple, if you like.
Yeah.
Beginning of the season, I always go for the apple, just because I know I can work my way
down. Go downwards,
Like, you never know how a season's going to start, so I will have at least one of the premiums.
Oh, of course.
We won't.
Of course.
But your point is valid of like when you start getting into it and you start getting the heat maps,
when we start finding
data,
out who the...
Then Iheanacho and Vardy are a perfect example there. Iheanacho has been the better choice.
Well, we'll all have Pookie next season, surely. He'll be back in the team next season for a Pookie party.
I mean, Wendia or Sarr.
If Mitrovic is anything to go by, the second season doesn't work as well compared to the first. So I think I just don't want Pookie, so I can be that guy that's not at the Pookie party again for like 6 or 7 months. Then I bring him in, he does nothing.
Okay, so Araya would like to know educated punts to take for captaincy and players to avoid in game week 38.
You put 33 here, so let's answer 33.
I assume he meant, or they meant 38, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt there. So educated punts to take for captaincy first, I think, is probably the best place to start. I mean, before this game week, it was clearly Salah or Kane. I think it still has to be. They're still chasing that golden boot, and neither of them, went ahead or got more goals or any, made any difference to that. So I still feel like that is on. And as I said in my video earlier, I feel like Kane, he was very frustrated in the last match, and we've all seen the video of him saying, what's the point there, when people weren't passing him the ball, and when he wasn't getting the chances, he was getting very frustrated. But if you want to move, there's nothing like saying pay the money for me than getting a golden boot. So I'm hoping that I shouldn't be selling Kane and Son this week and buying Benteke and Willock and banking the cash and taking it with me to next season.
Next season I'll have 106 million.
That'd be lush. Wouldn't it be nice if you could do that? But yeah, I think I'd like to think he's going to pluck up his ideas in the next match. And like I said, he did look better when Bale came on. So there is a question mark over making him captain now, though. There's no getting away from that. Salah, obviously.
But he
great.
said punt, didn't he? So he's advocating more the differential. So I think Kane is a really good shout.
Yeah. So punts. Yeah. So Mane, I guess then we could say educated punt. Chris Wood. Just going to say it. Moving on. Jay, what do you think?
Bamford.
Bamford, nice.
Yeah.
Just because Leeds at home against West Brom, fans are back in attendance. Don't think Bielsa is the type of manager that will let them rest for any game. So, Bamford.
Harry says Kane is getting benched for me. I would be sending some kind of statement, that would. What do you think, Brett?
Yeah, well, when I think of punts this game week, obviously, like with Man City, because a lot of them are so low owned now, there's a potential to really jump rank if you nail that choice. But I think that goes, I would call that a punt, but not an educated punt, because there's a big risk with that. So I think educated punts, I think, like you said, Mane would be an educated punt because of his record against Palace and the fact that they beat them 7-0 earlier this season. Like Jay said, I agree with Bamford. West Brom have conceded the most shots of any team, like the last 5 or 6 game weeks. They're really conceding lots of chances and shots. So I would say Bamford is an educated captaincy shout. And Southampton just don't look at the race at all for me. So West Ham with something to play for in the final game. I think Antonio as an educated punt with the big chances that he's getting still. Shots inside the box is still up there. So they would be my educated punts.
Cool, Ray?
Yeah, you guys kind of said it, really. I mean, I don't know how many times I've answered Mane with all these questions, but they're 4 for me, which you guys covered, really. There's Mane, Antonio, Bamford, and Wood. Those would be the 4. I think they're all punts, but educated.
Maybe Willock as well, because of the form. I'd say that's quite an educated.
I did see somewhere, though, that
and Fulham got nothing to play for.
Yeah.
True, but I think I did see somewhere that there was a quote about Willock saying that he was fatigued. So just bear that in mind. I don't know what that means for whether he may not start. He might bring him on towards the end or
He's
something.
not been starting most games, has he?
I don't
know,
really
not been match sharp, though, mate.
So I think
he looks pretty match sharp to me with those goals.
So maybe it was just a comment on why he was lagging a bit in that game.
You can have a rest
and
next
still
week.
Score the goal. Yes, true. Okay. James Keatley says Dallas final game week captain before he's reclassified as a midfielder next season. It's been an emotional journey. So what do we think? Would we captain Dallas? Go on then, Ray. You can go first.
It was a statement, and yeah, I think it's the perfect question to end with. I think Dallas has been unbelievable. I'm going to be so disappointed when he's a midfielder next season.
Yeah,
I'm going to be so disappointed because what the guy's done is just he's taken Lundstrom but to a completely new level. It's been phenomenal, and I think he's going to return against West Brom as well. Offensively,
I hope so. I really hope so because I got him in last game week. So
I think it's a punt, but not an educated punt. So I'm gonna say
that's a gut feel, that one, eh?
Yeah, if I really could, I'd want to bring him in, but I just can't. I can't bring him in this game week for the final game week. I can't. But no for me. But it's been an incredible journey with him this season.
Yeah, Jay, would you do it?
No, because I'd never get points off of Dallas. I have a tendency to have him in. When I have him, he doesn't do anything. When I don't have him, he gets those really big point scores.
Did any of you points from him for the Man City game?
No, he wasn't even in my side.
I think so.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, Brett.
I think it's a really good shout. I wouldn't do it personally, just because I would opt for the attacking player. Just is always frustrating if the clean sheet gets wiped out. Look, Leeds have done a bit better defensively.
I don't think I've ever captained a defender ever. I don't think I've ever captained a defender ever. Oh yes, I have once.
Trent.
Once, no, it was Alonso. The time he got those 3 goals and that 1 assist, and I was sat in a restaurant and I was trying to contain myself, and try not to run around with my top off. It was really difficult, I can tell you, because that's the one and only time I think I've ever captained a defender. I don't think I want to ruin that memory.
For the record,
sorry, Brett.
When I told everyone Dallas was a good shout at the beginning of this season, and all those people in the comments that said, not Dallas, you should go Alioski, you should go Ayling. Ha!
Fair enough.
It's not really a brag though, isn't it? Because you don't.
No, it's definitely
because you haven't had any of his points.
Like Willow could have.
No, I've not had it. If I just stuck with him all season, then maybe I could be a bit more bragging about it. But yeah.
Yeah, the strange thing with Dallas is, like, at the start of the season, looked at the stats from the Championship, and Dallas's stats from the Championship were outstanding in terms of defenders, promoted defenders. But I kind of thought, well, okay, it looks great in the Championship, but surely it's not going to be equal or more than in the Premier League. But he's gone beyond that. Like, it's strange that he's gone up a division in the Premier League and actually produced a lot more attacking returns. Beyond what I expected. Score 8 goals is pretty crazy. Granted, he's playing midfield, but he was doing that a lot in the Championship too. He's been really consistent lately. And Leeds have looked a lot better defensively. So I can understand the captaincy shout because he's got chances at both ends of the pitch to get points. I wouldn't do it because I'd always back, the explosive options like Salah or maybe Bamford or Antonio, Mane. But there's definitely justification to captain him. So I don't think it's a bad decision.
Okay, Buddy, would you like to grab a couple of questions from the chat, or maybe two or three?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions tonight.
We did get a lot of questions. Just in the meantime, just sending our love to Meg, because you're part of the WildCats family, so we want to send you lots of love and hugs for your granddad. So yeah,
love you, mate.
Okay, Buddy.
Definitely.
What have you got for us on the quick fire?
So we'll start with Meg just really quickly, because he asked earlier, what is in the jar with the gold lid just over my shoulder?
Oh, yes. Interesting. Can we guess? Can we have a guess each before you tell us?
Of course.
Okay. I'm going to guess that it's some kind of tahini. I'm going to guess tahini.
I'm going to go pickles. I'm going to go pickles.
I'm going to go with Nim and go tahini just because I think it is tahini.
Okay. It's either that or peanut butter.
Or maybe marmalade.
Peanut butter, maybe.
So none of you are correct. Nim was very close just there at the end. It's not peanut butter, but it's hazelnut spread. Hazelnut spread.
Okay.
Pretty nice.
I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to see another view of the kitchen just on the last stream, It's been a fun experience getting a look around your home.
The different angles, yeah, mate.
Cool. That's
That's
your
the
next
first question.
Anyway, okay. God, there's so many questions. Quick shout out to Alex the Kid,
Hey, Alex.
because he says he's on for his best ever rank. He's had 7 green arrows in a row.
Hey.
He's up to 37k, 50 points clear of maybe his rival or something. So yeah,
Nice.
good job, Alex.
Well
Well
done,
done, pal.
Alex. Jay just looks so unimpressed.
Sorry.
Like 50 points.
Sorry, when I hear how well other people are doing, I start to get depressed.
Come on, you're doing better than me. Yeah.
So I'll go with one of his questions. So he says he's got Meslier as a keeper, and I think Bielsa said that
He wasn't going to start.
Casillas is the other keeper. Will play
Casillas,
the final games. So he wants to know, should he take a -4 to replace a keeper that's not going to play? So what do we think,
we don't know who
guys?
his other keeper is.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it depends on his other keeper.
I would assume it's a non-playing
non-player,
keeper. Otherwise,
yeah.
he wouldn't ask the question. Otherwise, I don't think so. He
We
basically
thought
says,
so.
"Should I go with 10 men or take a hit for a keeper?"
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Final day of the
I
season, I think I'd go 10 men.
Yeah. Oh, would you? I was about
I'd
to
use
say the
hit
opposite.
to update someone else.
Yeah. I'd go for like the bigger upsides of, say, attackers potentially.
Like Mane.
Like we've seen, the final day of the season can sometimes have some ridiculously big scores.
I
Yeah.
swear
Gambling that you're
down,
gonna
if he like
predict.
starts 2 seconds and gets injured and comes off, right?
Oh mate, yeah.
Just imagine it.
Wait. You put him on the thumbnail.
I did. Preempted it. Sorry, Jay. Carry on.
It's alright, I'm trying to figure out who's on the thumbnail now, and I know I should know
It's
because I'm the
Mane.
one that put it up there. Oh, okay. Yeah, just the final day of the season, there's some crazy scores, and I just feel like you're trying to predict a very something that's more difficult to predict than if you went for trying to figure out an attacker that will score points. So I would personally play with 10.
I don't know. I think I'm kind of. I don't think I would hit for a keeper if I had a keeper that was playing. Like, for instance, I've got Martinez against Chelsea and Pickford against City. They aren't great fixtures, and I probably, could do with swapping one of those, but I'm not going to for a hit.
Yeah.
So I think if you've got a player that's playing, I don't think it's worth it, because there's a potential for points. Even if it doesn't look necessarily like they'll get you points, there's still potential for points. Whereas if you don't have a keeper at all, I quite like the idea of giving a space to a player that could at least still try and get some points. So if we knew we were starting in goal for Burnley, then I'd maybe say, against Sheffield United. Although that new kid, that chap, what's his name?
Was it Norris or something like that? Norris?
No,
Not Peacock
who-
Farrell, yeah?
the Sheffield United.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Jebson,
Jebson, that's the
something like that.
one.
I'm confused.
He
Yeah,
looks
Jefferson.
so incredibly good, like so good. He's
Shame
going
we've
to
been
be
in
a cracker of a
Championship.
player. So, well, if he isn't sold. But yeah, so he could be a bit of a worry. But other than that, I'd quite like going for maybe a keeper that has a potential of getting a clean sheet, because even if you get a clean sheet, there's still 2 extra points to your team than you would have got. So
Go Alisson. He might
Yeah,
go up for another
I
corner.
like that. Yeah, you never know.
I'd have
One
to
of the
say
most
no,
transferred
personally.
goalkeepers in.
Okay, I'd have to say no personally, just because the best case scenario is if they get like a double figure haul, but statistically a keeper's best point is going to be 6, right? So it's like betting £4 on a betting website, for example. Not that I'm condoning betting, but as an example, you're betting £4 just to win 6 back. It's you're risking 4 just to get 2. I think the
Could be 2 in the difference to winning your mini league, though.
Yeah, it could be. If you want to get
I get
11
the
players, I
argument
can
either way, to
understand
be
it.
honest.
The risks seem to outweigh the gain. If they had great fixtures beyond this, if it wasn't the final game week, I could understand it a bit more to finally get Martinez in for this a big run of points like he's had. But for one game, it's just a bit too. Could end up being a poor decision.
That's fair as well. That's fair. I think it's just like it's just the fact that you've got a space where you could be potentially gain points. I think that's kind of the bit in my head. But I do understand what you guys are saying as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with going without. Just like the idea of potentially being able to get some points.
It's never a nice feeling fielding not a full team.
Yeah,
it's never a nice feeling. But
I mean, Pickford got me 9 points. So. If you've got something like that, you'd be happy, wouldn't you? So.
Oh, definitely. That's dreamland. You get a 5-point game from a hit on a keeper in the first week. Yeah, if you're
lots of saves in the final game week. But no, I get it both ways. Honestly, completely understand going without as well.
Okay, we'll move to Rajan's question because he's put this in a lot of times. This question, so he wants to make 2 defensive transfers.
Okay.
Luca Digne and Shaw out for Robertson and Tierney for a -4. So 2 attacking defenders for 2 other attacking defenders for a -4. Ray, your face suggests you're not feeling it.
No, I loved it until he said -4.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I'd love to know what the rest of his defense was. That would help me a bit with this. But I think for the final week, I think taking hits are more advantageous potentially in the attacking areas. So I wouldn't advocate a hit for defender or goalie. So I think that answers the question. So I'm going to say no.
Yes, it's tricky on this one because we don't know what his budget is. So maybe he's got the budget just to do Digne to Robertson without Shaw to Tierney, which would save him the hit and still be a good upgrade.
Precisely. But and maybe he could use that hit for, a more offensive position potentially.
Yeah. So we don't know if he's got the money in the bank there. Maybe he has to go Shaw down to Tierney because I think maybe Tierney's a bit cheaper. Who knows? What do you reckon, Jay? Would you take this hit for 2 other attacking defenders?
Probably not, just because too much risk of that clean sheet going in. No matter how good an attacking defender is, there's always a chance they don't get an attacking return and then they concede one.
Yeah.
I do like the Shaw to Tierney move. On another note, just that one move, I really like it because I think we're going to create a lot of chances.
Yeah, he went off early, right, Ray? Was there any reason for that? Was it just because he hasn't played a lot of games? Or
I didn't watch the game or anything with the game.
Okay. Okay. He did go off early, but I'm not sure whether that was.
He's just made a paper, isn't he? It's so.
He is. It's so frustrating.
As an Arsenal fan, it's so upsetting. Mm-hmm. He's so good, but he's just weak.
Yeah, I don't think I would for 2. No, I don't think so. I think I'd rather use that that -4 further forward, like the lads said. I don't mind one of those moves, but I'm not sure about both of them. Brian says that Jefferson currently earns £145 per week. He thinks that might change. Wow. I think it might too, because he is an incredible talent. It looks like he's going to be great. So one more then, Brett.
Yeah, just quickly for me, I think I would do it. To be honest. Only because not much to go off really, but I'm assuming if he's weighing up these moves, he's happy with the rest of his team, the forwards in the midfield. And over the past few seasons, from my memory, in the final game week, one defender always goes huge. I remember one season I weighed up a hit in the final week for Robertson, maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago, and he got a 15-pointer in the final game. Last season, Tierney got a 15-pointer. The 2 players that we're talking about, Robertson and Tierney, have each gone really big in the final game week. I think Tierney maybe was home to Watford or something in the final week, something like that, and he did really well. So, yeah, just from memory, there's always a defender or 2 that go really big on the final game week. I know there's nothing to go off. There's no statistics or anything like that. But yeah, it just seems to be the way.
Well, no, but there is actually, because how many players of the weeks have been defenders this season? So it actually backs up your point. I mean, I think we have like 15 or 20 defenders that have been the top points getters this season. So it's a valid point. And actually last season I took a hit to bring in Robbo. So yeah, what you're saying makes sense, mate.
Yeah, for the final week, and because Digne's away to City and Shaw's probably not going to play, very unlikely to get punished as well. So good chance of that paying off, I think. Okay. Okay, so Jones Bloke 79 wants to know, should he keep DCL or not? Is anyone here keeping DCL this week?
I think it's very unlikely that I will be.
You know he's bloody going to score, though.
He's going to
bloody score.
Obviously going to score.
And you know what? It's going to be a Digne cross.
Don't, because my mini league rival has him. I don't know. I honestly don't know is the answer, Brett. I'd love to say I know what my chances are right now, but I just know I'll be sat in front of my computer with 10 minutes to go on Twitter with the panic and the early team news, and I'll be like, who's playing? And then it will literally be, right, you in, fine. Set the team. Like, literally, that's how it'll go. So I'd love to say I know who I'm going to start. And I think it's really hard to keep both him and Ollie Watkins with their fixtures when the likes of, Bamford smashing out the park has got great fixtures, Antonio smashing out the park who's got great fixtures, Chris Wood who's got great fixtures. I mean, I can't see me finishing with both of those two up top. And I think DCL is the most likely to go out of the two, but obviously, it may come down to a funding thing. It might be whoever gives me the most cash. So, so I don't know is the answer. Sorry, I know that doesn't help.
That's fair.
Have you got DCL, Jay?
Nope.
Lucky.
Very.
Don't have Watkins either, so I can't help with this question.
Happily can't help.
I've got Wood, Bamford and Kane, and I'm okay with it.
I would be too.
Nice, yeah. Ray, I think you said earlier selling DCL, so any justification to keep him for Jones Bloke, do you think?
Hey, Rob. I just get the sneaky feeling he's going to return because Man City aren't going to go all in, are they? It's going to be a celebration. It's going to be a carnival.
And he's away as well. Everton do better away.
Exactly. And I can.
I'm talking myself back into keeping him now.
I can see a high scoring game. Yeah, because Man City haven't exactly been defending properly because I think they've just been chilling, understandably. So I'm taking him out, Rob. But I'm taking him out with bated breath because I seriously could see him return because he's a bloody troll, isn't he? Last season, I think he went through 7 games without a goal, isn't it? And I had him, and I couldn't even get rid of him at the end. I couldn't get rid of him, and I was so angry because I should
technically keep him because my Twitter name is FPL DCL now.
And he liked it and all.
Yeah.
Did he really?
So
I'm joking.
To be honest, you got me there, and I thought, it's Ray, I better not react just in case it's a joke. But inside, I was like, what?
He just sent me a DM. It's nothing big.
He said, I'm loyal to Aguero already.
Yeah, it's...
What about you, Brett?
I'm probably in the same boat. I mean, at the moment, he's on my bench, and I'm probably going to sell him probably for Bamford. It is tricky because, like, this season, it feels like DCL scoring against Man City now away to City will just sum up this season where I try to apply logic and I still want to stick to logic. And I look at the stats and DCL's not.
There's no logic in this game.
No, not this. I feel there isn't this season, really. I've tried to be logical. But I still got to try and stick to the logic. And like you look at Bamford or DCL this week. Bamford's at home to West Brom, who are relegated already. They're conceding so many chances. Bamford's in good form. Leeds in general are playing really well. on penalties as well. I know Leeds don't get many penalties, but he would probably be on them if they got one. So there's all that at home to West Brom. Now DCL, with less stats, with less form, is away to Manchester City. So it's just logic to go for Bamford over DCL for a free transfer. Like, if DCL scores, I'll be so frustrated and annoyed. And then obviously it needs to be the double whammy, because not only does he need to score, but then Bamford needs to blank. And if that scenario actually happens, I'll be really angry at myself, but I'll still have to think, I made the right decision.
Logical choice.
It was the right call. Like, what can you do? Like,
that is the one part of this game we can't control. At the end of the day, the players are human beings. We can sit here and we can stat ourselves till we're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, it's all about that player on the pitch that day. You know, if they are feeling up for it, they go nuts. If they are not feeling up for it, you know, for instance, Kane last game week, even though he's chasing the golden boot, nothing. You know, that's the one part of the game we have no control over, literally no control over. And I guess that's what makes FPL. But that's something we all need to be a little bit better at, is not really beating ourselves up when it goes down the pan. I mean, there's more scope to beat yourself up when you go bat shizzle like me and go for major punty punts. Then you can be like, well, why did I do that? I didn't have to do that. Or I didn't have to take that -12. But no, I think when you play logical, at least you can turn around and you say, like me with Kane last week, okay, I didn't go for Salah, but at the same time, I didn't go for a bad pick either. I didn't go for a really punty pick. Do you know what I mean? I didn't go for somebody really out there and fall flat on my face miserably and everyone else returned. Do you know what I mean? So I went with logic. It didn't pay off, you know, and yeah, it's just one of them things.
Would you bring in Bamford or Antonio or Wood for a
That's
hit?
the one I don't.
For a hit to
it's going to be
DCL.
It's probably going to be.
If I can go round table for a hit. So he's starting off obviously -4 already, Bamford, then, isn't he? Because that's what I'm going to have to do if I want Mane. Would you guys advocate it? Because Bamford has to score, obviously.
Who's going for you for Mane?
So basically it's Mahrez
Bruno?
and DCL out for Mane and Bamford for a hit. And I'm really unsure if that's the right thing I'm doing.
To be honest,
I would do it.
You don't need Bamford to score. You just need Mane to go big, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
about hitting
DCL
for
and
both
Mahrez
of them.
not. Because the reason you're going for someone is to get Mane in. So if you're really confident in Mane, then you don't need as much confidence in the pick you're going for a -4 for. And it's a question of, will those two players do better than Mahrez and DCL
Exactly.
combined? That because it's a -4 for the two, not just for one.
Yes.
That's how I try and look at it.
Would I? Probably.
Okay, then answer that question.
Yes, I would probably do it.
Okay.
I don't know which one of those strikers you would go for,
Mane.
because I've got two of them already. So kind of like, I wouldn't know which one to go for, because I haven't even considered it, because I've already got two out of the three said. But I would definitely make the move. But it's up to you to pick the striker. Unfortunately, I don't have a clue.
I kind of want to play devil's advocate a little bit, and
or I could. Sorry, guys, I know it's become my question. Or I could just make Lindelof into Robbo and just move away.
Yeah.
Keep Mahrez, keep DCL, but have Robbo.
You know, it's
That
the
means
Mahrez
benching
one that's
Soufal.
kind of niggling at me. It's not
At least you know
necessarily the
DCL
DCL one. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think if you got some solid team news on City, I'd be really tempted to play Mahrez.
Pep with solid team news.
Well, you know, from somebody leaking, I mean, rather than necessarily from Pep.
I'd
Then
pick
I would.
other players. If Pep said Mahrez will play, I'd be like, he's not playing. Who else is he in?
Yeah, he'll play
Yeah.
like he'll make an appearance.
Yeah. But the thing is, Ray, like all stream, you've been like, if I can just like put this out there. Like, you've just been like Mane.
Yeah,
And I worry if you don't go for him, you'll regret it. Like, even if he doesn't really do very much, I think you'll like kind of regret not having gone for it. And
how many times do we talk about gut feel? Even you and I, when we talk,
exactly.
If I go for Mane and it fails, I won't.
Yeah, it won't be as bad.
Way, Ray,
you will still beat yourself up a bit, especially if Mahrez goes big.
Say that again, mate.
If you don't go Mane, please let me know Sunday, and I'll bring Mane in.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. 10 minutes. Imagine if he gets a hat trick and he beat me. I'll retire for WildCats. A short spell.
Short.
On the plus side, at least it'd be a couple of weeks before we'd do another stream anyway. Hopefully, I'll forget.
But yeah, no, I think you've kind of gone, like, he's been like at the top of your list all night, and I feel like
it'd be silly.
Of course, you'll annoy yourself if Mahrez goes big and Mane doesn't do very much, but at the same time, it's about the fact that you're feeling Mane right now, and it's that whole kind of what we were just saying, like, you know, you got to go with what feels right at the time for you. So, you know, you'll regret it less, I think, than what you would the other way around. If you stick with Mahrez and Mane goes big, then you'll just be like, why didn't I do that? Because I said it all stream and I didn't do it. Like we said about Willet there the other day, and like when we start stream, you know. So, okay, Brett, one more then. Sorry, brother.
Okay. Great questions, guys. Great questions. Really good one.
Nobody's helping me out here, and I feel the most stuck. Never mind. I'll stream.
One transfer.
For Bruno, obviously.
Yes.
So this question is from Chris Irvine.
Hey,
he says he is 50 points ahead of his mini-league rival, who has Bamford and Dallas. Is it worth taking a -4 hit to bring them in and block them?
And he's how much ahead? 50. I'm kind of in a similar position here. I'm
what
50, 60
Bamford
ahead.
and Dallas going to do to make up 50 points?
Double hat tricks. They both get hat tricks and the clean sheet.
If you're seeing into the future, mate, and you know Dallas is going to do something crazy, let me know, because I can bring him in if it's that necessary. So that sounds like an incredible scoreline.
I think in this instance, it's a little bit of, because I am very much a mini league player, so I'd like to think it's kind of an area that I'm not so good with the OR stuff, because I never even used to know there was an OR thing until I got to Twitter. Like, I was always mini league focused. So I would like to say I'm quite well averse on the whole chasing, blocking style of tactics. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong here with doing those moves, because also it's not like, I don't think the players that you're going for are mad out there. They're not players that I think have tough fixtures, or, you know, there's still players that I think could do well in a week and could pay you back that -4. Where I think it comes into play a little bit is if you fancy somebody else more and you'd rather go for somebody else more than those two, that's when having that buffer allows you to have a bit more fun with your own team in the final day of the season. So say you didn't have Antonio, but you fancied him more than Bamford, I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, taking that choice. If you wanted to, you could get Dallas so that you know you have him covered, and then be a bit more risky with your forward pick, going for somebody different. So you're kind of blocking one avenue, but, you know, having a go with another to play your own game, I guess, going forward. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it personally, and I don't mind it if you like those picks. And I think there's nothing wrong with going for one of them and blocking and taking a hit for somebody else you just really fancied the hell out of for the last game week either, you know.
Yeah, so. I copied this question, so it's not a typo. He is 50 points ahead, and if his only focus is to win this mini league, I think it's an absolute no-brainer. If you block, because these two are arguably some of the best players this week. the option.
Exactly.
This week.
Exactly.
So you're kind of forcing him, if he's if he's going to have to sell those two to try and catch you, then it's kind of a negative for him too, because they're very good options in general this week. So for a -4, get those two in. They're great options in general, and yeah, it blocks them.
Is it a cash league? Not that we...
No idea.
Like, not that we say we should do cash leagues.
We
but
shouldn't.
If it was a cash league, then I'd definitely block.
Yeah, for sure. Because like, even if this guy is chasing you, maybe he's considering to captain Bamford this week as a way to try and catch you. So at least you can try and block him if he does get a
I'm not going to lie, it's what I did last week. So I was 45 ahead, and I knew that the person behind me had Trent and Greenwood. Sorry, had Dallas and Greenwood. And part of my thinking was that they have good fixtures. So I'm going to take my -4 to get those two players in and block off two of those players that he has. But a lot of it was that I fancied those two players as well. So that helped. It wasn't just a case of just going, I want to block him, so that's what I'm going to do. But it did actually kind of was in my thoughts. I have a much more difficult one this week though, because he has Benteke and DCL up front. So I think he'll be switching those out, and I don't know who he's going to be switching those out for. So I have a tougher like way in knowing who to block with that one.
I think the difference between you and your number 2 is just so big. I don't think he'll catch you. He won't catch you. 50 points is way too big. I think if it's
I've done it in a couple of weeks. I've caught that much up in a couple of weeks.
Exactly, definitely. If there were 2 weeks, different story, it could happen. But for me, when it's over,
unless he's got a chip left, then you might be in trouble.
When it's over 25 points and the other opponent is chipless, I was about to say that. Then different story. But for me, well done, mate, you've won it. But I think Dallas and Bamford are great picks anyway to climb your rank. So get them to climb the rank.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Anyone else you want to shout out to, Brett, before I move on to Jeff's Corner?
Obviously, we did have a lot of questions from Nuclear as well, but I just thought because we answered one of his from Twitter, I thought I'd do other people's from the chat, really. And yeah, obviously another shout out to Mig, like we said before, lots of love to Mig. And there was a question from Michael Svedin as well. So sorry, Michael, thanks for your question. Just ran out of time tonight.
Okay, cool. All right then, so moving on to Jeff's Corner. And if you don't go and follow at Austin66UK, then do go and do that, guys. I want to say a massive thank you to Jeffers actually for all of the questions this season. He's been brilliant at supplying these for us. And Jeffers runs several content creators mini leagues. I don't know how he does it. He's brilliant at keeping scores and keeping tabs and running these cool leagues for everyone. So he's really a good one to go and follow on Twitter, and he's been brilliant for us this season. And we love this section on the show because I really feel like it's the nice light bit at the end of the show where we get to have a nice argument that has nothing to do with FPL, and we all get to know each other a little bit better, which
make it more
good.
light-hearted as well, which is good. Love you, Jeff, mate. I know I was silly earlier, but I love you.
We all love you, Jeff. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. Okay, so let's get on with the question, and it's the same never have I ever rules as the last few weeks, but this time it's never have I ever visited this landmark. So I'm going to go first this time because I have tried the last couple of weeks to let everyone else go first, and really because I couldn't think of many others. So I'm going to use my right to go first this week. And I'm not confident, lads. I'm not confident. But I'm going to say I've never been to the Tower of London. I hope that means I got a couple of points then.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I have pretty much done nearly every single landmark
Not even
in
for
London.
School trip you go.
No, well, because I'm like Wales, aren't I? So it's a bit of a long way to. Although we did go to the galleries and all of those, and the Tate Modern and all of that quite a few times, and the Natural History Museum and all of those. But the Tower, I haven't actually been to. I've been to the bridge, but not the Tower. So yeah.
What is it here? If we have been there, then you get points. Is that how it works?
yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, you don't get a point from me because that was my answer.
Aw,
You guys.
damn.
Wait, you live in Kingston.
Yeah, how could you never been? Damn it, I was hoping
I've
that
been
meant
so
you have
many
been.
places as well in London that I have never been there.
I know, me too. Like I've literally done all the others. I just haven't done that one.
Right,
So it's
well,
1 point from Ray, at least. By looks of it. Brett
if you
never
come
been.
to London, we're
I
going
haven't
to
been there.
London.
Okay.
I haven't been there.
Okay. And Jay hasn't been there.
No.
So, okay, so just the 1 point from me. Okay, well, it's a point. I will take it. I will take it because I wasn't even sure. I was hoping Jay had been there, seeing as he's London bound, but there you are. Okay, then. So, Jay, you're going to have to think of another answer. Do I leave you for a minute?
Yes, if you leave
Okay.
me for a minute, please. I was pretty
Okay,
confident in
then.
that one. I assumed everyone had been there.
Okay, then. Go on, then, Brett. I'll let you go next.
So I need to say a place that I haven't been, and if
Yeah.
you guys
We
have
have.
been, then I
Yeah.
get points.
You get points.
Yeah, a
yeah.
landmark. Yeah.
If you need to think, I'll go to Ray. All right.
I need to think.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I've got one.
Okay, all right. Let's
I
go
actually
to
had
Jay.
backups, but I had backups, but
So it's not just a place; it's a landmark.
A
Yeah,
it's a
landmark.
landmark.
Yeah.
So I was gonna go, if I couldn't have Tower of London, the Eiffel Tower.
Okay. I have never been to the Eiffel Tower.
I've never been to the Eiffel Tower.
I've been.
so, so you get 1 point from Ray
So
again.
Ray is
Ray
Ray is
everywhere.
well travelled, is what we're
Guys,
learning.
Tower of London, come on.
Literally, it's like the one place I haven't been in London. Okay. Okay then. Go on. You must have one. No, okay, you want Brett to go?
Ray's literally
Okay.
been everywhere. He's like, I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
Never
Go
been
on.
to the Statue of Liberty in
Okay.
New York.
I've never been.
I've never been there.
I've been there.
Ah,
is
so you
it,
get
mate?
1 point.
If I may ask, how is it?
Yeah, awesome, mate. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about 17, I think, so it was a good 15 years ago now. But yeah, you get the Staten Island ferry. So I haven't actually been right on the
statue.
landmark, but
Okay.
on the statue. But I took the ferry and
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, of
Yeah,
course, if you
pretty
say
nice,
counts,
mate,
you want
pretty
to point.
Give me my point, please.
Yeah, did you actually visit though?
Look, if you went round the little area bit, he was
Staten
there,
Island
right?
ferry.
I'd say
But
that's,
we'll let you have it. We'll
That's
let
a
you have
valid
it.
answer more than marinara sauce and cheese.
Otherwise, it's just bread. All right, it's just bread.
Tomato puree.
Okay, go on, Brett.
Oh, this is tough. I'm trying to
It
think.
is. It is quite
I
tough.
can think of
I really
places,
struggle.
but not landmark. Or,
Yeah,
I know
agree.
you guys, and especially now that Ray's already said Liberty, because I was thinking maybe like somewhere in New York or something. Bloody hell, guys! I can't think of something. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
What about some castles or?
Mig said the Welsh have historically never liked going to the Tower of London.
It's true. That's why you stayed away, man.
Thinking of like
Who goes to
football
castles
stadiums
anyway?
or something, but
What about Stonehenge? Landmark. Land's End.
that's not a bad shout. I'll just use that one.
You can't use one off the other.
I'm giving him some help.
You are, aren't you?
But actually, I have
That's the
been
answer
there.
of someone that's so
I-
far
Oh,
ahead in
okay.
the school.
I literally went there last year. I went there
Just
last year.
killing us.
Uh,
You Google.
Go on, Nim. You have to use Google. Nim, you got one now.
I've said mine,
She said
buddy.
Tower of London, didn't
Am I
it?
the only one left?
Yeah,
You're the
we're
only
waiting
one
on
left.
you. Waiting on you.
bollocks. All right. God, I have never.
What country
been,
have you never been to? Is there a country that a lot of people go to that
Maybe
haven't been to?
Amsterdam. Maybe Amsterdam. Haven't been
Can't
there.
think of any landmarks in Amsterdam.
There's no.
No.
Does
There is
Amsterdam
a land.
have-
There are landmarks, but they're a bit.
Yeah.
Tell you
Fun.
what.
Have you been Italy?
Yeah.
Have you been Greece?
No.
Half an
I
hour?
have never been to. I'll just try this. It's the first thing I can think of now. I've never been to the White Cliffs of Dover.
Okay.
Me too. I haven't been either.
I have.
No, I haven't either.
Hey,
There
I got
you
1 point. I'll take
go.
that.
There we go. You get 2. You got 1 from me as well.
Oh, you've
Oh
been
no,
there?
no. Oh no, sorry,
No,
Jay.
okay.
Sorry, yeah, I
Just
got
me.
confused then. It's the gone bit. Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm just going to say a massive thank you to everyone who's joined us throughout the season and tonight. Thank you all so much. Thanks to Ray, who's been a new addition to the team this season, and obviously to all of our guests who've joined us. I know that Jay's going to echo all of this when I pass it over to him. But yes, guys, thank you all so much. You've got us through. You really have. And yes, much love to all of you. And again, a big thank you to Jeffers. And I will pass you over to Jay to wrap us up.
Sorry, I'm just reading Mig's comment in the chat and
What was he saying?
been left a little bit speechless. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for the support this year, or this season. It has been great. We really appreciate you guys coming in with the questions, the likes, and all the funny jokes like landmarks that Mig has been to. So thank you guys so much.
That's going to be etched on our last stream of the season.
Exactly. There you go. Thanks for creating memories for us, Mig. But yeah, if you could for the final time this season, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We will be back, I'm assuming, for next season, unless I'm just tired of streaming by that point. I'm joking. Anyway, guys, thank you so much.
We'll be back.
We'll catch you next season. Bye.
Spot.